Good morning again and welcome back to video 3. The royal family have really been busy. There's a lot going on, so let's jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with King Charles. To start with, this absolutely fabulous portrait was released to mark the first anniversary of the coronation. Don't they look happy and relaxed? I love this picture. Apparently it was taken about 2 weeks before it was released. And at the same time, Buckingham Palace on April 26 said that the king is going to return to public-facing duties very soon. Don't misunderstand. They're saying that the king's treatment is still ongoing, but they have a positive sentiment from the doctor. I'm going to quote here. His Majesty's treatment program will continue, but doctors are sufficiently pleased with the progress made so far that the king is now able to resume a number of public-facing duties. Forthwith coming engagements will be adapted where necessary to minimize any risks to His Majesty's continued recovery. This, by the way, is the biggest update we've been given on what's happening with King Charles since the announcement on February 5th about his cancer after he went in for treatment of an enlarged prostate in January. And by the way, a palace spokesman clarified he does not have prostate cancer. Personally, I don't think they should say anything. I don't think anybody should be speculating either on what kind of cancer he has. So with each event that Charles is supposed to go to, with each invitation that the government gets, with each visit, no matter what it is, they're going to assess. So for instance, his attendance has yet to be confirmed for Trooping the Color, Royal Ascot, or any of the Buckingham Palace garden parties. So just remember that planning for these events continues. The future plans remain subject to doctors' advice, so we'll just have to wait and see as each of these engagements. So he still has some public-facing engagements. You just saw he had a private audience with a few people, and he is going to continue with all official state business and selected audiences as he's continued to do during his entire treatment regimen. So he's not completely not working. So he's just, taking it easy. And, those cancer treatments really take it out of you. So I'm glad that he's been able to continue on. And I just want to point out one other thing. The timing of this announcement, they're saying it was planned to align with the BBC News at 6. So everybody was briefed, but there was a 6 p.m. embargo so everybody could prep their coverage. Pretty cool. Now, it was then announced at one point that on Tuesday, Charles was going to visit a cancer treatment center, and the visit went ahead. Now, they also made a point of saying that at this particular cancer treatment center, this center has had nothing to do with Charles's cancer treatment. So we know that visit is coming on Tuesday. So on Sunday, Charles and Camilla were seen going to church service. I have to say, for me, he's looking pretty good sitting behind the wheel of the car. And I love Camilla's hat. She's really looking good in the hats. So on Monday morning, the King and the Queen, Camilla and Charles, got on a jet and they flew back to London in anticipation of the facing the public events that we heard that Charles is going to be, participating in. Camilla returned home on Monday, and that was the same day that she hosted the world champion maiden yacht crew at Clarence House because they won the Ocean Globe Race. And you should know they are the very first all-female crew to win that race. And so Queen Camilla hosted them and congratulated them on their victory. And I love that dress. I believe we have seen that one before. The next day, on Tuesday, King Charles made his return to public-facing duties. He stepped out with Queen Camilla to visit a cancer hospital in London. He actually looked really good. Now, he was at the University College Hospital Macmillan Cancer Center. Remember, this place has nothing to do with Charles's cancer treatment. They made that amply clear. So he arrived and was greeted out front. And they're saying this trip was organized because the medical team from Charles is very positive about his continued recovery. And so this marks the King's intention also to spread awareness and become a leading campaigner on issues like prostate cancer. So he walked into the building and he was greeted with cheers. Now, in his past, he's met lots of people suffering from cancer. He's been the patron of Macmillan Cancer Support for more than 25 years. And Charles has always taken a very keen interest in the treatment of cancer. So now he wants to take his interest to highlight the battle to find a cure. Okay, so he walked around, he met and spoke with a lot of cancer patients that were having their treatments, including Leslie Woodbridge. She was having her chemo and she was there with her husband, Roger, and she looked up at him and said, "How are you feeling? How are you doing?" Also, as an FYI, in case you haven't heard the news, Charles has now become the patron of the Cancer Research UK. This is the very first patronage he took over from his mother since her death. King Charles on his tour saw multiple pieces of equipment. I'm pretty sure he's familiar with the CT scanner. He met a retired art teacher named Eileen Rapley. She had lung cancer and she was saved by a pioneering Tracer X program at that very hospital. He also met this gentleman, Steve Young, who has skin cancer and is on a landmark trial. Oh, I love stuff like that. Now, when they went to leave, they were given beautiful flowers, both of them. There was a huge crowd across the street, big cheers. Everybody was really happy to see King and the Queen. They looked wonderful, and Charles was right on form. I love it. One more update for Charles. He is hosting the Emperor and Empress of Japan. They're going to pay a state visit to the UK in June. I love it. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Anne now. She went to visit Illumina in Cambridge for World DNA Day. Can you believe that? That celebrates advancements in genomics and promotes awareness of how research can change people's lives, because they research cancer, reproductive issues, very rare diseases. Everything's in the DNA. Very interesting. This event marks the significant milestone in history, the successful completion of the Human Genome Project in 2003, the discovery of DNA's double helix structure by James Watson and Francis Crick in 1953, and this year's festivities were joined by over 150 enthusiastic children from schools in areas around that area. Now, these kids got hands-on science activities, including extracting DNA from strawberries. That's so cool. And they toured one of the state-of-the-art laboratories. Now, this behind-the-scenes glimpse into this world was designed to inspire young scientists, because one day they may be the pioneers and roles in research and innovation. It's pretty cool. Now, one more thing before we move on. This is pretty cool. In keeping with DNA Day, Illumina hosted an annual global literacy initiative called The Future is Bright. And this is the company's commitment to promoting equitable access to STEM education. Remember, science, technology, engineering, math. So through April, partners with schools and nonprofits will provide programs and activities for learners of all age. And in 2024, over 100,000 learners globally will participate in that. Over 10,000 students in the UK alone. Let me throw in there really quickly. I love her outfit. I love that shawl. She's always so styling. Don't you guys think so? I do. I love her outfits. And the fact that she recycles. I'm sure something will pop up soon showing where this shawl was. Now, of course, before she left, she did what she usually does. She unveiled an absolutely fabulous plaque. Now, there's a reason why they call her the hardest working royal, because when she finished here, she headed on to her next stop. Anne went to the Hitchingbrook Hospital, where she was greeted by Steve Barnett and CEO Hannah Coffey. Anne went to the maternity unit. Now, this happened on April 25th, and this was from the Royal College of Midwives, because remember, Anne is their patron. She toured the unit, she met the midwives, support workers, other staff, and she even met some of the new parents. Now, while she was there, Anne met the oldest serving member of staff and frequent visitor, Chaplain Roger Cresswell, who turned 80 this week. Oh, love that. And of course, she went right into grandma mode when she met these two kids. Now, on a different day, Andrew Stennett, who is the proprietor of the Grove House Stables in Misterton, was awarded the Pony Club's 25th anniversary plaque by Princess Anne. Now, this is pretty interesting. This man, when he founded this in 1991, had one pony, one horse, and a muddy field. And now he's got horses, ponies, equestrian training facilities. Pretty cool. All right, moving on. Now, also on the 25th of April, Anne attended the Institute of Commonwealth Studies reception. Now, she is the Chancellor of the University of London, and so she got up and talked about the importance of education and cooperation, and this reception marked the relaunch of the Institute of Commonwealth Studies and the 75th anniversary of the modern Commonwealth. Looking snazzy there, Anne. Let's move on to Princess Beatrice. And once again, I think the press is trying to make a story where there isn't a story. Princess Beatrice went to Dubai and she attended an event that's meant to encourage international collaboration. And she addressed the conference. She got up and spoke. But what bothers me is that in this, they're talking about an ex-boyfriend of hers found deceased in a Miami hotel room after, he was doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing. Now, she hasn't seen this guy in 18 years. So why they're making this such a big thing, I don't know. So they should be looking at the fact that Beatrice sits on the board of Opus. She gave a great speech and she took the opportunity to chat with other people like the trade commissioner for the Middle East and Pakistan. And, why aren't they focusing on that? Stop talking about somebody that she hasn't seen in 18 years. Moving on. And I want to send a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us this dress. I love this dress. I said it before, I'll say it again. I feel like her style has been elevated since she married. All right, moving on. Next up, with Beatrice and Eugenie, they took part in a panel discussion for the Open Forum, meeting the 21st century entrepreneurs. And this took place while they were still in Dubai. It was said, and I'm quoting, "Doing things that are for the greater good of people, communities, and each other is at the heart of everything that entrepreneurs are really looking for." A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us everything Beatrice and Eugenie was wearing. All right, let's move on to Sophie. Now, we knew that she became the patron of the Women's Health Charity in 2021. This charity is dedicated to saving and changing the lives of women. From the get-go, they're saying she had big shoes to fill because this was the role held by Diana, Princess of Wales. What the charity does is it amplifies all areas of women's reproductive health across a woman's life, from menstrual to menopause. Sophie made a very interesting point. She says everybody talks about having babies, but nobody talks about their periods or menopause. Or she goes, it's incredibly normal. So she said, I have no problems taking on this role. I have a vested interest in it, and all women should have support for all of these things. So there you go. I love it. And finally, Prince William and Princess Catherine had their 13-year wedding anniversary, and they released a never-been-seen-before photo. And as you can see, William is in a different uniform than the one that he was wearing when he went down the aisle. But a beautiful photo, and thank you for sharing. Thank you guys for stopping in. Now, don't forget to go down into the description box. You'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, Finn's channel, my father's book that's still up for sale, and my Amazon wish list. And don't forget about my line of merchandise. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you've donated anything to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.